Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to my online toy museum, and today we are going to talk about Ultra Magnus. But a quick history from what I can gather about Ultra Magnus is he is the brother of Optimus Prime, and oftentimes their forms look the same, and we'll go through that and I'll show you that. The power of the Primes was in the hands of Sentinel Prime. And you may remember Leonard Nimoy was voicing Sentinel Prime in the Dark Side of the Moon Transformers movie. But the power of the Matrix of Leadership rested at some point with this character, Alpha Trion. So Alpha Trion was given the Matrix of Leadership from Sentinel Prime. He could have taken it for himself, but didn't want to lead. And this character here, and this toy, is from the Power Titan's Return. Alpha Trion gave the Matrix of Leadership to Orion Pax, who then became Optimus Prime. He could have given it to Ultra Magnus, but decided to give it to Prime. And this is also Alpha Trion in his ship form in the Cyberverse. So this is Transformers Cyberverse, and there you can see he's, always given kind of a face, a visage of a old wise being, and so he advises the Transformers. Doesn't take part really in the big wars, but generally favors the Autobots. All right, so that's the quick history, and this is just a little small Generation 1. Doesn't have a whole lot of features to it. This is a toy from the year 2000. This is your, it comes apart, as you can see. Your Generation 1, and then the legs come off. Ultra Magnus. Okay, so I thought we'd start with, this is your basic Ultra Magnus form. Okay, and of course, like all Transformers, they take on a bunch of different forms. Here's another one this is the Titanium Transformers, and this is a little bit, still a lot like the Generation 1. They're called Titanium, I guess, because some of the pieces are metal. So like this is metal, so it's heavy. It has some metal chest pieces too. And then, has some articulation in there. And then these can come off. And I guess you can, maybe find a different place to put those. I don't know. Oh, yeah, they can. Well, I think when he's in vehicle form, you can do different things with them. So, but then they come off. And that's what he's like. All right, I can convert that for you. I'll show you. Okay, so here's the Titanium Ultra Magnus in truck form. And, because it's related to Optimus Prime, like Optimus Prime, it's, like an 18-wheeler cab, but the back of it's different. Oftentimes, Ultra Magnus is a car carrier. All right, so I'm going to show you what I think is kind of the ultimate Ultra Magnus figure, or certainly one might argue one of them. And it just so happens I saved the box from like 22 years ago. So if any of you remember this Ultra Magnus, all right. I got it at KB Toys for $20 clearance. And you can see if you have, this is what Ultra Magnus looks like, truck form, and then robot form. And then you have Optimus Prime, and you can combine the two to make Omega Prime, which I have. So here's a little bit closer up, and I'm going to show you that. I actually have a miniature version. Oh, and the box came with like a little card and give you their strengths and weaknesses there. I have a miniature version of that. This is this version of that Ultra Magnus, and it's just a real quick transformation. So actually, well, you can see it's a car carrier, okay, and is just going to fold up here. And then these are going to move out of the way. There we go. Okay. And there you go. So that's what the big one's going to look like also when it's in vehicle form. All right. So I'm going to show you, here is the Optimus Prime in robot form. And I was able to find another one on clearance a few years ago. So it didn't have all of the parts, but it had most of the parts. So here he is, Optimus Prime. And it's got, well, the hands can come off and just pop them back on. But yeah, you have a thumb that moves. And then you have his forearm weapons. And then this back here folds out. And then there's a whole bunch of guns. Like he can hold over his shoulder. And then there's a way to release these. So there's a trigger back here. You push this trigger and then all the 4 missiles are ready to launch. And all of those are spring-loaded. And then they'll launch out for you. Okay. And now the thing about this 2001-2000 Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus is they're very complex, but they also don't stay together really well. So I often put like the clear plastic bands on them to help hold them together. They're really well made in other ways. They have good articulation, ratcheted click joints, rubber tires, all kinds of ankle articulation, and they make noise too. Wow, and this comes off. You see, they're very, though, temperamental to movement. And I think that as time went on, they realized that this is not making it that fun to play with. Now, where's the... Oh, okay, I guess this one's not going to talk. It actually can get into a smaller form. And you see there's another Optimus Prime head down in here. You actually have to push that up through there. And see there's the other Optimus Prime head. But I don't want to make this about the Optimus Prime right now. Okay, but I just wanted to show you this to show you how it becomes Omega Prime. Okay, get this out of the way. Here we go. Omega Prime. So it's a pretty impressive figure. Right? And you use pieces of Ultra Magnus and Optimus Prime to go together, and then they fit over each other, and he gets a hand that has more articulation, a larger hand that has better articulation. You could see some of the Ultra Magnus parts get used to make the legs bigger and heavier. Then you have like rockets that launch off here. And then this is part of Ultra Magnus's car carrier portion. And this is the Ultra Magnus head. So you can see that from the miniature, it's the same. Fold that down here. So you can see it's the same head, actually. There you go. Okay, but that folds down. And so this is the Omega Prime head. Okay, so this is, as you can see, quite an impressive figure. Rubber tires, as you can see the rubber's starting to split over here. I think I could put some black shoe goo on that. They do make black shoe goo. It's a little harder to find maybe, like at Ace. whereas you can get the regular shoe goo, which is clear, like at Walmart or Lowe's. Okay, and then those can even fold out if you want. All right, and these move back. And the head articulates all around. So that's Omega Prime. All right, well, let me go now and show you a lot of the Ultra Magni. Oh, there's one more thing. The Ultra Magnus weapon. Here we go. So this is the weapon for Ultra Magnus, okay? And it would fit on the back of... So if Ultra Magnus is in his truck mode, okay, this would actually... It fits on top. I mean, obviously this is not the right scale, but it fits on top. It comes with 2 white missiles. The other one, when putting this on the shelf, shot off, and I haven't been able to find it. It's really, really unusual to be able to find, see the targeting, a missile that actually will work with another transformer, but I did. I don't know what this goes to. It's in my pile of missiles, but I found this, and it actually works. So it's the right length, but you can see that the variety of, different hooks and clasps and ways things go in on transformers, it's such a huge variety of diameters of the holes, and yet to find one, and I found it really quickly, that works is rare. And so this also does, you can fold this down, and then those can fold together, and then you can turn this, and then it can become like a single, like a shoulder gun. And oh, this can turn too. That's right. There, like that. You can turn it all the way around. So you could turn it either way, right? And then when he's in Omega form, okay, so there's a couple different things you can do here. Can't believe I almost forgot to show you all this. All right. So when he's in the Omega form, you see these here, there's actually little switches here too. So Omega Supreme makes some sound. Ultra Magnus makes sound too. And when I deconstruct this, I'll show you all that. But all right, so this can mount here, and then you can turn this like this, and then turn those, and then this will mount. And they go in only one way because one is circles and the other side is squares. See this? Look. Squares, circles. So shot myself. Oh, and yet I have it the wrong way. Okay, you can do it the wrong way on one side. Well, circles will go into squares, but squares won't go into circles. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then you can turn this all around. Well, you can have it up in the air like that. You can have it fold down. So it can be lower on him. And then this can adjust like that. All right, so then you can have the gun, move this back here. You can have it this way. You can see that from the side, like that. All right, or just take this all out of the way. And as I was initially arranging it, missile's shooting off on me. Okay, so then you can have it where he is like has it mounted and he's holding it, and he can bend his, try to orient his hand so that he's holding on to it. And you can see that the problem is it's complex, and that's neat, but it's a little bit jiggly, easy to have him drop things. But so he can hold it like that, and then he can have his targeting system up. All right, so there's a lot of different things you can try to do, manipulating things around, and that in itself is kind of fun. And so during Transformers Armada, there was an Armada Optimus Prime, a smaller scale, all right, and then this can fold down, and you see the matrix of leadership would be in here. All right, well, they made an Ultra Magnus that's the same. It's the same mold, just Ultra Magnus color scheme. You have, the same forearm weapons, but you can see the plastic is different. This is kind of it's a weird sort of translucent kind of silver. And then this is a more opaque, shiny gray. I like this better, actually. And let's see if we open that up. It's the same mold, And the head articulates around. And then it has this, in the back here, if you put a Minicon on here and jostle this up and down, it'll make his arms punch. Okay. So we'll borrow this Minicon here. And this is from Unicron. So, all right, so you can position his arms in a certain position, and then, it pegs into there. You see it's got a little divot that pokes in, and then you go that up and down, and it's like he's firing weapons. All right, so same, the Optimus Prime does the same. All right, so again, Ultra Magnus, and then that just in robot form, and then you can convert him to vehicle form. Not that hard to convert. Just good plastics back then. Nice and heavy, kind of smooth, slick feeling, easy to clean. Needs to be cleaned, actually. All right, so there, Ultra Magnus in vehicle form. Okay, that one. All right. Well, there's a lot more Ultra Magnus. So we have another basic Ultra Magnus in the package, and there's an Optimus Prime that looks exactly like this. And there it is, robot form and truck form. So here he is. This is, what Ultra Magnus would look like also, but this is the Optimus Prime version. So they, just use the same molds again and change the colors. So this here is Ultra Magnus, really nice model, Voyager Classics, and just really nice, again, good plastic, smooth, solid, heavy. And this also came as an Optimus Prime, and I have that. So this is what Ultra Magnus would look like in robot form. Okay, so this is how it changes, and I added this axe from a totally different set of Construct bots, actually. So that's from an Optimus Construct box. And you can see here, this gun is taken from these exhaust here, and then this top gun that can mount here or in his hand. Okay. So that's like a powerful looking laser gun. Is from the aerodynamic cone here. And then that all comes apart. Well, you see this just pop off in the back. And then you get the Ultra Magnus head here. All right, so that's Ultra Magnus. And you can compare that. It's the same head as Optimus Prime, just different color scheme. But so it would look the same, right? So that's what that looks like. So Voyager, Ultra Magnus, classics. Okay, and then there was Transformers Energon, and this is the truck form of Ultra Magnus, and that can come apart here. And I don't believe they made a large version of this. It's kind of weird. Let me work with this here. Okay, so here he is in robot form. It's just a little bit, the way it folds back, it's like an extra fold, and I knew there was something a little different about it, but I couldn't remember. But to get the truck part back further, it's got to fold a little differently. They also made this little guy in an Optimus Prime form. So this is, yeah, a miniature version of, Ultra Magnus for Armada, which was never, Energon, which was never made into a big form. And then there was Transformers Animated, and this is a really cool Ultra Magnus. Fortunately, I was able to get another one of these in a secondhand store. It's missing the big hammer, but I have one that has everything. But this is the Ultra Magnus in vehicle form. And then those can fold down. You see all the detail though? Look, pop up. And then get that right in line. And then shoot that forward. All right, so nice, again, nice heavy plastic. It's got some lights and sounds. And I'm going to show you the other form. Here's a robot form of Ultra Magnus animated. There's a big hammer, great articulation, and the mouth actually, I thought it could move down a little bit. Oh, there, that's what, the head moves up. So, yeah, you can do that. All right, well, so here's the button to activate him.
Don't be a hero, Optimus. It's not in your programming.
So Ultra Magnus, didn't think that Optimus was up to being a leader, I guess, in the animated cartoon.
We must return the Allspark to Cybertron. Ultra Magnus here. Don't be a hero, Optimus. It's not in your programming.
We all know that's not true. All right, so then, and the batteries go in here. All right. And then you can see he's got, nice shoulder weapons and more shoulder weapons or over-the-head weapons. Got that big old hammer. Just a good ratcheted click joints. Move this back here. So pretty big figure as well. And the wheels fold back in here. Nice ratchets. Okay. All right, so that's a figure I like a lot. Put him back here. And here's Ultra Magnus Generations, Fall of Cybertron. Right. It's a lighter plastic. Got a big old sword. And yes, this also came in an Optimus Prime version. So they just changed the colors a little bit. It's got a gun instead, but the same Transformer. The heads are different, actually, see? So you can see that the faces are different. All right. So, yeah, you can see, the Ultra Magnus, very different head. So that's good. They didn't just put that out like that, but the body is all the same. Right? Okay, and in 2010, Transformers Prime came out, and this is the Ultra Magnus from that show, and this, as you can maybe get a hint, turns into a giant hammer. They also made this in a little mini version, and the mini versions from Transformer Prime are just as good, really, as the big ones. And they transform the same way, which is nice. They really just miniaturize them. So here, and that turns into a big hammer. See that? All right. So I'm going to transform this real quick, but actually I'll just transform the weapon for you. So the weapon is a gun, and then you can move this back, and then see that becomes a hammer, and then you're supposed to move this in place up here, and it's supposed to lock in on that, and then hold it in hammer mode. Now, as you might imagine, that's easy to kind of flip out, and then this is what happens. And then it just, will flip back on you. But, it's really still a pretty great idea, and overall works well. So there, now he's got a big old smash and hammer. All right, very similar to the animated one. So here's that animated hammer, and on this guy, his hand opens up. So that's a nice, touch that he actually can open and close his hand. And then, so there's his big old hammer, and look, that can lock in. And then I guess it's like a gun, so it can fold up, and then it'll be small. And then you push up on it, and then they both pop out. And so you have this similar idea in that it can be one, smaller, and then it's got a spring in it, and it pops out. So again, cool detail, right? All right, so I'm going to transform the larger one here for you. Okay, so here's Ultra Magnus Prime in robot mode, all right? And what's unique, one of the unique features about it is this shoulder. See how that folds in here? So that's not a common joint at all on Transformers to be able to move like that and then lock in place. All right, so then that locks back there, and then you have multiple angles on the head, and then he can hold his big old hammer. And if you want, he's got like a rocket launcher here, like a bazooka, and you can see there's a place to mount it here. So if you'd like, you can mount it on the hammer like that, or convert it to gun mode. And you can put that on top like that. And then there you go. Now he's got a rocket launcher gun. It's a little big for him though, but I think he can handle it. All right, so the small one transforms in the same way. A little bit simpler, but then this folds back. So the only thing with this that's different with the small one is that the cab doesn't move back. What happens is you push on the head, and then it just kind of flips back there, and then the chest pushes back. But you see, it's got the same pectoral shoulder joint, which is really neat. And then you have ball joints here for the arms, and then he can hold his big hammer as well. Okay, holds it there. All right, so, and I like the clear plastic, so that's pretty neat. And then Transformers Prime became Transformers Prime Beast Hunters, and they went another step further. Very similar figure. You can see the design, how he looks is similar. Let me show you here. If you look at the face, you can see the evolution there. Okay, so you can see the evolution here of the face, very similar. But the Beast Hunters are a little bit more scary looking. The hammer, maybe a little bit more scary. It's got 2 shoulder rockets that, let's see, I think they're just push mounted. So it's just you push on them and they have that ball resistance. All right. Head articulates all around, and then he's got wings on the back. So this Ultra Magnus is ready to fly. Good wheels too. Not so, even though they're just solid plastic, they're not as hollowy as some of the other just solid plastic wheels. All right, so here's the Beast Hunters in vehicle mode. Now, how the wings are supposed to mount onto here, I could not find a way, and I couldn't find a picture on how to do that. But it seems like there just should be a way. Usually, Transformers are made in a way that you can kind of pack everything up, and put it together. I don't know, maybe it's, something like that. But there isn't, I couldn't find a way to click it in anywhere. So that's odd. I mean, you have these up here, and it would seem logical that you should be able to fasten this on there. Like maybe this should fold out or something. And then maybe it just, see, it's not wide enough there, but it just seems like it should be able to fasten on, but I couldn't find anything. But in any case, I like it definitely in robot mode, and vehicle mode is okay. It's like an Optimus Prime, right, in truck mode. All right, well, there's a little bit more. Okay, so then there's the fall of Cybertron version of Ultra Magnus. All right, so, you can see again the car carrier aspect to it, although there's really not any room to put any cars in there. They have all kinds of weapons, and you have, the red rockets that we're used to seeing, and then his big gun there. Well, and then I have him in robot mode here. So this is his Ultra Magnus mode. So he's his largest here. And then, you can put the guns on, his legs. And the rockets up here. And this whole line of toys, the Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron, all that, you can get a lot of other accessories from other Transformers of that line and add weapons, and there's, peg holes and things that you can do. You can even add things to make his even taller. So this is his large mode, and this actually gets into a smaller Ultra Magnus mode as well. So let me show you that. So that folds up like that, and then this comes off here. Okay, and so then this unfastens here. You have to kind of pull hard to get that off. And then these shoulders come off. That's the one thing about this line, is that there's another thing you have to pull a little bit hard too, and it's, you can see the other legs inside here. It's a little bit disconcerting, but if you look at the instructions, you're like, yeah, okay, I gotta pull that. And that jiggles out there. All right, so this is the one that always, you gotta push these, and it's just a really hard joint. Always makes me nervous. I'm gonna break something. See, that's why it's good I have another one. I really feel like it's a little too hard to pull. All right, and then this one folds down here, and that's not easy either. All right, and then that folds up, and then there you go. And then there we are. Again, back down to the Ultra Magnus size, that we're used to seeing. All right, good wheels, and then you can put different weapons back. All right, so he's got his gun, and then let's see what we can do with these. Have these guns here. And then you can mount those to his forearms. So, again, a lot like Optimus Prime, forearms guns. And then what do we got here? We can do this. Let's see. Can we get those? Well, actually what we can do, we can mount those here. There. So, but if you want, you can put the shoulder pieces back on. You know, and then it looks, again, it looks more like our familiar Ultra Magnus. Right? And it actually looks a lot like this Ultra Magnus here. So it actually looks like this Ultra Magnus here, the Voyager one. Right. So you can see the heads look really similar. The way this one works is you turn the whole half of the upper torso around, and there, you have that. These can kind of be used as little shields. And then this can come off. Become a gun. There he has the one gun here. And then have the other gun. I'm having a little trouble orienting this one here. There we go. All right, so, and then if we take a look at that, Fall of Cybertron, I think they're quite similar. See? And then you can see how this is similar, well, identical really, except for the colors, to this Optimus also. And then, you know, you can take, like I showed, the gun is up there, so you can take that gun, and then it has this flexible piece here, and then it can be, you know, mounted up there if you'd like. All right, well, there is one more Ultra Magnus to show you, and I also will convert the big one into Ultra Magnus 2 for you. So here's Ultra Magnus as a beast, as a lion. So, Lion Magnus. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. But this, I think, also came out around the time of the Beast Hunters. And then it had this quirky kind of weapon that you'd push that forward. The claw would push forward and it would swipe with the sword. All right, and I will convert this to Ultra Magnus for you. Okay, so here he is in robot mode. And so the lion face flips down. It also has that shoulder joint that is similar to the other Ultra Magnus, where it moves in there like that. And then he can hold his big saber, Energon sword. All right, like that. I feel like this should flip down a little further. Let me investigate that. Okay, yeah, I had to move this piece down further. Then the head would come down. All right, so now he's looking forward. And then you turn the legs. They turn up in the thigh there. Okay, so that's a pretty cool looking Ultra Magnus too, isn't it? All right, so now I'm going to convert that big one for you. Okay, so here is the big Ultra Magnus in vehicle mode. It's temperamental as far as transforming it. It is a functional car carrier, which is cool. You could fit a car in here and a couple of transformers like, Hot Shot or Bumblebee up there. And then even these fold down, so you could run your car up in there and you could store, 3 transformers right here. And then you mount your gun here on there. And this is not going to stay together. But in order to, I did put some batteries in it, and listen. Now, this thing's like 22 years old. I feel like the voice was deeper. But in any case, that's funny if it is higher than it used to be. But all right, so there you go. Everything you need to know about Ultra Magnus and how he came to be, and his relationship with Optimus Prime and Alpha Trion. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.